Welcome to AwakeningYOU channel. We hope you found something here that sparked your interest and assists you in your awakening journey. If you appreciate what we do, please support us. Thank you. My dearest brothers and sisters, this is Hakann speaking. I greet you in peace and love. There is a misconception in the light worker community that people who are emotionally feeling good are high vibration and are therefore spiritually advanced, and people who are emotionally feeling bad are in a relatively low vibration and therefore are not very spiritually advanced. It's certainly true that more spiritually advanced people on average tend to be happier. However, this is only true on average. It's not true in all cases. It also doesn't follow that focusing on being happy in the current moment is the best way to or become spiritually advanced. Suppose you have two completely identical people, and in both of them, some old pain surfaces. One of them suppresses that old pain and distracts themselves by focusing on something happy or tuning into high vibration messages or music. The other person instead observes the pain. Then the observing person will in the short term feel less pleasant emotions, and will seem less spiritually advanced to the average onlooker in the short term. However, the person who observes is in reality not less spiritually advanced than the person who distracts themselves. Indeed, observing your pain instead of distracting yourself will lead to more rapid spiritual growth. Admittedly, positive focus, i.e. focusing on something happy, can be a valid coping mechanism, if things are too intense right now and the person doesn't have the energy at that moment to observe their pain. Still, it's also true that a person who feels happy isn't always more spiritually advanced than someone who doesn't. It can even be true that one person who spent 5 years healing some youth trauma and who frequently felt awful during that period, is in fact more spiritually advanced than someone who spent those 5 years distracting themselves and who superficially speaking didn't seem to experience much pain. Even though to an onlooker, it seems that one person was frequently grappling with old pain, and surely that person must be less spiritually advanced than the person who seemed to do fine, right? However, the person who suppressed their pain still has it. It's still there, in the subconscious. Okay, so, there is a not always accurate idea in the light worker community that being happy and experiencing positive emotions and not experiencing negative emotions means that the person is more spiritually advanced. Therefore, Earth light workers have an incentive to try and be happy and feel pleasant emotions in the moment, because then they get the ego boost from being more spiritually advanced. Ego boost sounds very malevolent, but really, ego is something to be integrated and not demonized. If my more or less superior Ashta Sharon tells me I did a good job, then that gives me an ego boost too, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. Still, let's follow the thread of the argument we're building. People have an incentive to try and feel pleasant emotions in the moment, partially because then they get the ego boost that they can tell themselves that they're spiritually advanced. There's also an idea floating around that only high vibration people will either be saved or evacuated or be otherwise able to live in a new love-based society. So this is yet another incentive for people to try and feel pleasant emotions in the moment. As an aside, it's not guaranteed that this scenario will actually unfold. It's possible that a scenario unfolds where the vast majority of people will be able to live in the new love-based society. Even if a scenario unfolds where only a group of people are saved or evacuated or able to live in a new love-based society, then your subconscious and suppressed parts will be weighed too. So observing what comes up will again serve you better than distracting yourself through positive focus. And also, people who are regularly reading or listening to messages such as this one, will most likely make it, because feeling drawn to messages such as this most likely means that you already have a relatively high level of consciousness. Let's get back to listing incentives for people to want to be happy in the current moment. Then there's an idea that if you feel happy you will manifest good things and if you are unhappy you will manifest bad things. There is a grain of truth to this. But if you suppress negative emotions into your subconscious then you will manifest those undesired things from your subconscious, which again means that observing whatever comes up is best, because once things are observed, possibly a few times, then they are often released automatically. So if you want to manifest, then observe whatever comes up. You don't need to actively go dig for old pain, just observe whatever surfaces, whatever it is. A fourth incentive to wanting to feel good in the moment is that this makes you look spiritually advanced to other people, and that's a big social advantage. People like you more, people respect you more, people listen to you more, it's easier to date or make friends. If you make YouTube videos, then you will get more views, and if you sell courses or products, then you will make more money. Finally, many light workers have been a very high vibration master in a past life, and feeling good in the current moment feels a bit like home because that's how you felt as a very high vibration master. Therefore, feeling good in the current moment may feel like home. So these are 5 big reasons why people want to be spiritually advanced, which in the minds of many earth light workers means making sure they feel happy in the current moment. To repeat, these 5 big reasons are: it's an ego boost if you can tell yourself that you're spiritually advanced. People think that only the spiritually advanced will get to live in 5D earth. People think that they will manifest better things if they are feeling good. It's a social advantage and it feels like home. There's nothing inherently wrong with wanting to feel pleasant emotions in the current moment. While that's not my highest priority, all else being equal, I would like that too. However, many people take this wish to feel pleasant emotions in the current moment so far that they start suppressing or denying their so-called negative emotions. And that's when it becomes problematic. That's when it starts to slow down your spiritual progression. I would advise not to prioritize the principle of try to feel happy emotions in the current moment over the principle of whatever arises, observe that, to put our spin on a phrase from Hakann. If something unpleasant feeling comes up, and you have the space and energy to observe it, then from my perspective observing it is more valuable than focusing on something positive. Yes, you can use the coping mechanism of positive focus if you don't have the energy to observe whatever comes up, but that's a coping mechanism. That's not good practice in general. And I would also advise people not to place too high a value on the idea of, if it feels emotionally good, it's good for me. If it feels emotionally bad, it's bad for me. This isn't always accurate. You can blindly trust and follow guidance from your soul, but not from your emotions, and it's much more common for people to feel emotions than to receive guidance from their soul. At least, people who have some amount of distortions and illusions and unhealed pain won't always get accurate guidance from their emotions, and almost every human on earth has some amount of distortions or illusions or unhealed pain. If you feel resistance or hostility towards something, or if you feel triggered, that's your emotions. Your soul isn't in resistance and your soul isn't hostile. If your soul wants you to, for example, not click on a message because the message is misleading, then you will just have a feeling of, reading this message doesn't appeal to me. Let's introduce the concept of performative spirituality. Performative spirituality is engaging in a false performance, aimed at convincing yourself or other people that you are more spiritually advanced than you actually are. One example of performative spirituality is pretending that you are doing better than you are doing. Another example is saying I wake up every day with a smile on my face, or I can manifest anything I desire, if that isn't literally true. If this is literally true, then that's not performative spirituality, and it's fine to say that. Performative spirituality can be harmful to the people around you, in the same way that it can be harmful to the people around you if you pretend on Facebook that your life is better than it really is. It can make the people around you feel inadequate and not good enough, even though in reality they may actually be doing fine. It's just that they believe the lie that's presented by performative spirituality and they can't compete with the lie.